start from the back and run down?
Yeah. Yeah. No? I can do it in a very different way to John. No?
I don't know how. No, because we have.
Yeah, come in. When do you want me to start?
Oh yeah, I'm first, is it?
Chris, where are we being? Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Student Union Leadership Elections. And today is our second opportunity for students at the university to raise questions and to have and debate with candidates who are standing for the various roles for student union leadership positions. If I could welcome those watching live, either at the university in the refectory or the pear tree, or even at home watching a live stream of it, welcome. If you're close by and you feel that you want to come and join us, then please do if there's any questions that you would like to ask any of the particular candidates. And today we'll be having the opportunity for questions to be raised of the candidates before you, an opportunity to ask them some quite challenging questions. In terms of some good practice and etiquette for this afternoon, what I'd ask you to try and do is ask questions of a general nature so that all of the candidates have an opportunity to answer. Please be polite. And we will have, I'm sure, an interesting afternoon of questions and hopefully some revealing answers from the candidates who are here in front of you. Unfortunately, today there are no candidates available for the positions of non-UK Students Officer and Mature Students Officer, so we will be going straight to hear from candidates for Vice President Student Activities. What I'm going to ask you to do now is just to tell us who you are and what course you're on, and then I'm going to offer the opportunity to the floor to ask any questions you may have of the candidates who are here for you today. So, in no particular order, if I start at this end here.
Hi, I'm Connor Allen. I'm standing for VP Student Activities Officer, and I'm on Sports Coaching Science with Disability Sport.
All right. Hello there, my name is Vlad Marin, and I'm a Creative Digital Media student in my third year.
Hello, I'm Sam Patrick, a current third year studying social welfare, specialising in learning disabilities.
Hi, I'm Hemakari Ratna, and I'm running for the student activities, and I'm studying Masters in Sports Coaching.
Okay, thank you and welcome. So, who would like to ask the first question of one of our candidates? Yes.
It's clear that there's an imbalance in equality between sports societies and what you consider regular societies within the SU. How do you think you can resolve this?
My main focus is to create a more fair representation for both sports and societies. I have been a committee member for Spotlight Theatre Society for the past 2 years. I've been a staff for the past 3 years. And so I know how unbalanced the university has been, with sports having both the Colours Ball and Varsity Week, which doesn't allow for creative societies a chance to be able to promote the hard work and hard effort they spend on their products. So what I'm proposing is actually being carried out by the SU this year, but it's something I really want to ensure continues for the next year. Currently, Spotlight are creating a arts festival similar to the Edinburgh Fringe Festivals, in which both committees of creative societies as well as the current third year students working on their final performances get a chance to promote the hard work and amazing shows that they have been involved in. And I reckon that this would create a more equal and more fair playing field for both sports and societies.
Okay, who'd like to come in next?
Not totally disagree, I'm slightly disagree. Reason is Society Bowl is currently going on, so there's something at least going on for the societies. So I'm not saying they don't have anything. And also RAG Awards, so they've done really good job this year, RAG. So, and they improved a lot. So they've done loads of events. So there's something societies can involve and increase participation and involve with the clubs and societies as well. So that's something I was focusing as well for societies.
I think it's important to note that not all societies are arts-based. So putting on an arts festival will meet some of the needs of societies, but necessarily the societies which have nothing to do with the arts. So like, for example, Harry Potter Society, and how I would deal with it is by, as VP Student Activities, really getting involved with the committee members, supporting them, giving them funding opportunities, because for some societies funding is a major issue, and in previous it's normally gone to sports. And I think by having an equal system where everyone can pitch an idea for funding is it can be a better open, and that's how you support both and you make them equal.
Well, I think that the sports society, because they have more members involved in the societies, they're going to be more important from that perspective. But the normal societies don't have as many members, and we should focus on expanding the SU power and expanding the involvement of the students with the SU. So I think we shouldn't really get involved on developing the current activities. We should get ourselves involved with developing the societies and trying to get people into the societies, maybe trying to create more societies if they aren't interested in the current societies.
Okay.
Can I just remind something?
Okay.
There's only 11% students are studying sports. So we can't say all the people who do sports are sports students. So everybody do sports. So that's where we could improve, getting participation. Ask people to play sports as well, and same as join societies. So that's where the institute societies comes. So the institute can build some societies to increase more participation in there.
Okay. Yes.
I take everyone's point of looking at the manifestos and societies is quite a big thing and you're all looking at the shit. But part of one of the main real responsibilities of your role is going to be the varsity event that takes place against Gloucester. How do you not see sort of improving that sort of event for the students sort of across the board, whether that be in terms of people going, the events that take place there, because that will be take up a hell of a lot of time.
Okay, just to make sure, I'll just repeat the end part of that question, just for the benefit of those who are watching the live stream. The question was around the varsity. How will you improve participation not from those actually who are competing, but equally from those sort of involved in the preparation, the observers and supporters, and developing the event as well. If I start here. Yes.
So what I want to do is put more sports in there to give more students opportunities to participate in the games, because it's a great opportunity for university students to represent their university, and there's a great sense of pride involved in that. As well as that, I'd also like to get a disability in sport in there to compete with Gloucester. Again, that's very difficult because Gloucester doesn't currently have one, but it was the same situation with rowing a couple of years ago, so I'm sure we could do that. And I think the great thing from a spectator's point of view is to really advertise it, we get the sports, really publish it, and not just through posters, using videos, interactive videos, and word of mouth, and the sabbatical officers, the VP student activities going around hall saying, look, this event is on, it's varsity, because actually, how many first years actually know what varsity is? And this is a good point, that we all presume we all presume everyone knows what it is. But all we see is a poster saying varsity, a certain amount of sports, but actually not a lot of first year students know what it is.
Yes.
We need to, again, to emphasize my colleague's point, we need to emphasize on the marketing of the event. I, as a creative digital media student, already have some experience with working with videos and products, marketing, which from my perspective, it will help the students to actually publicize and market any event from the SU, not only the varsity event, although this is the element of discussion right now. I think marketing it through videos, through a better online campaign, through, for example, a radio show or a radio podcast, more or less, put in the SU to actually raise awareness of the event or any other events, could work to actually improve the participation in the event.
I've been part of the varsity for 3 years now, and I played cricket for 3 years varsity. And the other thing is, I've seen loads of people coming to watch basketball. It's packed. Indoor sports packed. Every indoor sports is packed. Everyone knows here as well. And when it comes to outdoor, only thing is we are playing away from the university, most of the games. So that means transport is a massive thing. So the way people can't get there is we need to work on. So how to people to get there, give them some discount to go there, or people to get something, some way, however, if they can get there to watch the game, that's the massive thing. And that's how probably we can get more people to come and watch. And that means you need to give more discounts, so then people come and watch. And Connor said a good thing, freshers. Freshers take a massive part, which they lives in the host. That means they can travel a lot more than the others. So we need to push a bit more and advertise a bit more. So that means we need university help to do that. So to get the university help is we need to advertise all these things on social media, on the university website as well, to get more publicity.
I agree with everything my colleagues have said. One of the main things I think Vlad said is better publicity and promotion. I know that The Voice do an excellent job covering the varsity sporting events, and with the creation of the student radio station, this would also be another facility to use. And this would also provide our students with real-life experience of working in journalism, also not just a written broadcast, but over a verbal broadcast. So a better advertising campaign and better transport. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else with a question? Yes.
It's quite easy to say that you want to increase participation, but what kind of ideas have you got to actually go out there and go and increase participation?
Okay, so the question was, it's easy to talk about increasing participation, but actually how would you go about and do that? I'm going to start with that. Yeah.
Okay. First of all, I said the radio idea, which can be developed, as I told, from small podcasts, maybe video podcasts, which would involve more people to actually work on it, develop more opportunities for students to actually get involved with the SU. And videos, podcasts, or small time frame productions are going to be the most effective for students, because students are going to expect the minute-long advert or any kind of video, because because they usually they're not interested enough to actually look for a 20-minute video, 30-minute video and listen throughout it. So we need to grab their attention in a really short span of time. So yeah, I think production like those are going to help the SU develop in the best way.
So most of you have seen my manifesto as well. One of the key areas on there is my increase in participation massively. The way I'm going to increase is negotiating with the university to pay the half of the membership for the students and student pay the other half. That means the students have to pay only half, but the society still get the same amount of money. So that means people would love to join. I know a lot of people who even currently represent the country who don't like to play for the university because it's expensive. And sometimes they only play a couple of games. So that means they can't participate. If it's a local show, they need to publish more. Like, they do really good publish. Poby are doing a great job with the photos. Everybody's seen that. I mean, we need to appreciate what he's doing. So that's why we need to do like promotion videos. At least collection of photos, promotion videos. So then people can see what the actually university doing for these things. And I mean, e-newsletters, people need to get those. I mean, I know most of the staff knows as well, they are getting the e-news every week. And if something like that student get as well, what's happening in the university. So that's something like people would look at it.
One of the main things that I've learnt over my course is that the university doesn't really offer much to students who only come in 1 day a week. For the past 2 years, I've been on a foundation degree, which means that my course is only 1 day a week. So this limits the amount of time that people can engage with the SU due to work placements, as what have you. So one of the main things that I want to do is increase promotion over activities that are actually happening within the SU, because it's all well and good having more stuff on, but if not enough people know and not enough people attend, then we are missing a key demographic in terms of the whole students' union.
Okay. Come on.
I think there's 3 different points here. Sports, for increasing participation, we forget a massive group of people, which are students on placement. The fact is, they don't have time to commit to a sports club. The fact is, they don't. So increasing recreational time so students can drop in and out of sports, so they have court time available where they can go and have a kick out, play some basketball, just still participate in sport. There's a second element of society, so supporting them and trying to get new societies as well. I mean, the Harry Potter Society is a great example of a new one which has come around this year, which has really thrived. And thirdly, of all, it's to do with the SUs, getting people involved in social events. So the karaoke on a Friday, how many students from City Campus, it's a big student population, actually get involved with that, because the fact is they've got to walk all the way up to the SU and all the way back, and I think that's where we could put on like a minibus service which could take them up and down. Again, I like what Hamak is saying about the way that what you're going to do is you're going to ask the university for half membership, but actually logically, is the university going to give you that? It's very, very unlikely, because it's hard to get funding at the university. They've got tight wallets. It's hard to get any money out of them. I mean, certain sports and societies this year have asked for £500–600 for funding for equipment to carry on. The trampoline club is a great example of that, and they've been refused. So I think it's great to say, when I'm here and say, I'm going to do this, that and this, but you've got to think logically what you can do.
Okay.
Can I say something on that?
You can say, yes, of course.
The way I'm going to do is, I'm representing the Institute of Sports. So basically, we have a massive budget. And that budget already some of them are left over as well. So that's where they can use those student union to help those clubs to develop as well. So that's something we need to talk with head of Institute, Mick Donovan, Tadas, which is the performance coordinator, and director of finance as well. Something we need to work on there. So I'm not saying I can't do it. That's something I need to work on.
Fine. Connor, your hand was up first.
So something I will just say though is the fact of it's great coming from an Institute of Sport and Exercise Science view, but actually the amount of students which are in sports clubs, not all of them are from the Institute of Sport and Exercise Science. It's not even the biggest institute. I mean, I'm an Institute of Sport and Exercise Science student myself, but the fact is, we're not the largest institute, and we're going to try and reach as many people as can. And that plan just going to come from the Institute of Sport and Exercise Science? It's only going to be for them students, or is it going to be a whole wide thing? Because if it's coming out of their budget, if it's coming out of that institute's budget, they're not going to spread it around every other institute.
Sam.
I wish to further Connor's point. Currently, the membership of the sports as a study, according to you, is 11%. In terms of sports societies out of population of the university, it's 15%. It's all well and good saying that you're going to help that 15%, but how are you going to help the other 85% increase participation?
That's where the funding, if these funding comes through, that means people are interested. So if they're interested, that means, I mean, I'm not saying this is for sports students. Institute of Sports is for sports. So that's how they give money for sports. So if they're, say, business, they are giving funding for business things. So if it's sports, they are giving money for sports. So that's how the funding they give to the university to spend. So that's how they work on that. So that's why. If we ask for some money for develop sports, they will give money to develop sports.
Okay. So one more quick round.
All I'm going to say there is it's great, and it would be, in the ideal world, it'd be great for that Institute of Sport and Exercise Science to go, there's a lump of money. But the fact is, the Institute of Sport and Exercise Science have funding budgets, right? They're only going to want to give funding for their institute because they are bothered about their institute. If you're talking about a development side, of development of like participation in sport, that's not necessarily coming from the institute, that's coming from the university. I mean, Mick Donovan is the head of the Institute of Exercise Sport. The fact is, they're not going to give funding out for everyone because that's what other institutes should be doing. If they want to increase participation in general, then every institute should be chipping in.
Okay. Do you have another question from the floor? I'm going to make this the last question. As it is, I'll...
How do you all plan on supporting RAG this year?
That was, how do you plan on supporting RAGs this year? And I'll start at the end. I don't think I've asked you to start. So.
RAG is probably one of the biggest improve in the university. I need to thank you and Wesley for organizing these things, because I've been to a couple of them and there's massive number of students going there, and that's a really improvement. I think probably you earned most of the credits in the university this year for me, and they already organizing a RAG award for you. So and I heard from Abby Clark, so that's something I wanted to continue going as well. I want all the societies and the clubs to join and help you to develop more. And I've been to his meeting yesterday, and there was only 6 people. And if you are not part of any other societies, just join him. I mean, I would help him if I'm not part of anything.
Okay, Sam.
One of the main things that the Arts Festival, if approved, will do is raise a significant contribution to RAG. That is explicitly stated from the very get-go.
As my colleague said before, I think that if we develop our student base, we're going to improve these events as well through better budgeting from different places. One of them would be uni. If we have more students involved with the SU, we can get more money from them. Second part of it would be to actually get better deals from institutions like Tramps, well, companies like Tramps or McDonald's, which we already have contracts with, but we can improve on, because for the past 5 years, we increased our numbers of students from the university. And yes, you kept more or less the same contracts costs. We can get more money from the companies if we actually manage to convince them that the SU student engagement is bigger. So we can bring them more money, so they will, in turn, give us better contracts. So we could actually fund stuff like this.
Okay, Connor.
Going back to your point, refreshers was on the Wednesday night was RAG. So part of my manifesto is I want to better refreshers, make it better advertised, which will increase the amount of students which go in. And therefore, I would actually campaign with Tramps to actually work with them to get a better deal. So whether that's the bar cut or whether that's the entry, And as well as that, like, I know a lot of sports teams were willing to do inter-competitions between different sports teams in different sports for RAG, which would be really, really good. And I think them 2 points. I mean, increasing refreshers means students have a better experience, but if you're raising money for RAG as well, that's an absolute bonus, and it's going to do really, really well.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have a really pressing question that they feel they really must ask these candidates in front of you?
One thing that's fairly obvious that we as an SU work quite close on for the last 2 years, it's missing from a lot of your manifestos, is what about the volunteering side of things? How we're going to sort of grown quite dramatically in a very short space of time. How do you sort of suggest that we're going to continue growth rather than stagnating where we are?
Okay, I'll start with you, Sam.
Better promotion and better advertising. Currently, I think volunteering is a great thing, but not enough students know about it or see it not as a useful time to spend. But with the VOSCAs and the VIA records, better promotion would guarantee better volunteers.
We need to make it look exciting, because it is an exciting thing to get involved with the SU and actually talk with people and meet new people, and it is a pleasurable experience. We actually need to advertise that, again, as Sam said. We need to promote it. We need to actually show the people what we actually do, and yeah.
Okay. Connor?
We need to picture to them what they're going to get out of it, because when someone volunteers, it's what they're getting out of it. Yes, hopefully they enjoy it. As well as that, what I'd like to see is volunteering within institutes. So for example, like we've got the IZB coming up for basketball. I'd like to see that advertised within the lectures. So the lecturer's saying, you're on a disability sport course, right, there's this going on, would you like to do it?
Okay.
There are loads of events happening in the university, and sometimes there's, like, if it's a student event, there's no one to help out on that. Maybe the student who are doing the other stuff as well. So there's the volunteering hours. So then people can come and say, we need a couple of volunteers, can you just advertise it? So that's the ways you need to more publicity for this volunteering. And the clubs could, like, Loco had a couple of programs. They could ask some people to help there, like for the entrance, come and help, like to set it up. So things like that, general events. Or maybe just help out the university events as well. So that means something, you're getting more hours basically, and you're getting more experience. I mean, volunteering is a massive thing. For last 3 years, while I'm working as well, I did my volunteering hours. I did every 100 hours. Still, it's a massive thing. I really recognize this award. People talk about it everywhere. So that's something I think people need to work on. So I would say when the president doing his talk during the Freshers Week, that's where he need to say, come along and join the fresh volunteering team. And varsity is a massive as well, where you give loads of people to volunteer, because there are home games, away games, so you give volunteering to go away and home. So there's loads of events happening as well.
That's great. Right, I'm going to draw questions to an end there, but what I'm going to now do is ask each of the candidates to sum up why you and you watching us live should vote for the position of Vice President Student Activities. And I'm going to start with Vlad.
I think that you should vote for me, because I am the best person that could actually represent the SU the way it should be represented. If we need to market the events and the volunteering part of it, and we need to increase the SU power. And through my skills in creative digital media, I could actually represent it properly and actually campaign it to students to actually make it look exciting and make it look good.
Today there's been a lot said about what we're going to do if we get elected, but just to re-emphasise, if I get elected, I want a better refreshers. I want to treat sports and societies equally. I want to increase participation in all events, sports, societies, volunteering and social events, and increase recreational time, which will help students up for placement. Student experience is good at the University of Worcester, but I believe if elected, I can make it great. I believe if I'm elected, I will meet someone in 10 years and they're going to be buzzing about their student experience at the University of Worcester. The really big thing that I've learned since being at the University of Worcester is listening is key. And if I'm elected, that's exactly what I'll do.
I've been in this uni for 4 years. I did my undergrad here, and doing my master's now. So I know what happened in this uni and what's going on now, how improved we are, and I'm going to take this forward. That's it, I'm going to say. And you can read my manifesto. There's loads of things. I'm going to do more to the clubs and societies. Flag awards is a massive thing, and increasing participation is the other thing. And if you think I'm the best person, vote. Your first choice, Hemaka, and aspire to inspire before you expire.
And finally, Sam.
Speaking to people on my campaign trail, 85% of students are not sports societies. We have 2 great sports students sat alongside us, but it's not every student. I've spoken to students who feel like societies and non-sports societies aren't represented enough. And let me get this clear, I am not anti-sports, as people have come up to me and said in my campaign, are you anti-sports? You're very pro-societies. I am not anti-sports, I am pro-students. I want to invest more time in sports, societies and services that can make our students' experience better. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for taking part. Should we show our appreciation to the 4 candidates? Thank you. That's excellent. And now I'm going to invite those candidates for Vice President Education to come and join the front table. Okay, thank you very much. If you've just joined us, this is a live debate at the Hive for the Student Union leadership elections, and we're now going to have our second round of questions from the floor for the position of Vice President Education. So what I'm now going to do is invite you to again say who you are and what course you've done, and we'll go along and then we'll have questions for you. So.
Okay, I'm Sammy Bean and I'm a 3rd year English literature student.
I'm Zarina Azam and I'm a 3rd year sociology student.
I'm Chris Newbold and I'm a 3rd year drama and screenwriting student.
Hi, I'm Jack Carver and I'm a creative digital media student in my 3rd year.
I'm Lewis Arnold and I'm a 3rd year sports studies student.
Okay, thank you very much. So, shall we start the questions? Who would like to ask the first question of the candidates? I'll start with that.
Once again, this year there has been a serious miscommunication with module selections. Recurring problem with the university. How do you sort this out?
Okay, Chris.
I think the main confusion here was the idea of bringing in a new system for module selection. The new system was aimed about getting students the modules they want to do. There was a small backlash against this because there was students that thought they wouldn't be able to timetable their life around their student life in their university and their learning. But this isn't actually the case, having talked to the people involved with this new system. The new system would give students 2 months, I believe it was, 2 months notice of what their timetable would be, rather than the, I believe it is 4 or 5 months they have currently. I believe 2 months is more than enough time for, if you're a mature student, to sort out babysitting, or if you're a part-time student or an international student working your part-time job around this. The new system, when it comes in next year, will allow much greater participation in the modules that students want to be involved in. And it's just letting students know the pros for the systems as well, and not just letting the negatives be drawn out without the university's knowledge.
Okay. Yes.
Again, building
Sorry.
on what Chris has said, the new system is a lot better. It does mean that if you want to do a module, you are going to be able to do it, and it's not that bad. However, we do need to make sure that we're getting out there and we are talking to the students and we're letting them know exactly how it's going to work, instead of just putting it on Facebook, on Twitter or something like that. We're actually talking to them and they know face to face what's going on.
Okay.
Again, I agree with Sammy and Chris that the system is a lot better of an idea, but a lot of students got the wrong idea when it was proposed about what it was going to be like to actually select your modules. So a lot of people spoke out against it and it got postponed for a year. So I think when that does come to be introduced, that we need to make sure that people are actually aware of what the system is going to, what the changes are going to be, and how that's going to affect them. And one of the ways that that could be done is by making a video production, so that if any students aren't available to actually speak to someone in person, they're always able to go online and check the video content that's going to explain it perfectly for them.
I think the first issue is the actual module selection process is extremely complicated. I know a lot of students have a great difficulty trying to pick their modules for the coming year, no matter what institute you're in. I disagree slightly with what some of the other candidates have said. The only problem I've got with the new system is that if you do select your modules and then it does come out 2 months before you start instead of 5 months when your week will be, then you need to go and reselect your modules, or you need to change a module. Let's say you need Friday off because you need to look after your children, for example, if you're a mature student. Changing your modules once you've picked them is extremely complicated at this university. You can either wait 3 weeks for an appointment at first point, which is always very, very busy to change your modules, or you can do it online on your sole page, in which case you can't always see when your next module would be in the week. So you can swap a Friday morning for a Friday afternoon if you need that off. So if the new system does come in, I'd like to make changing your modules, if you need to do so, a lot simpler.
Okay. Zarina, do you want to?
Yeah, it's literally just the same. I found when I did my modules, I picked them and then the times all changed on them and I didn't know. So I think it's just making sure that people are told that it's being changed, because no one had told me, which is really, really important. And basically just making it more simpler, really.
Good question. We look forward to working with one of the successful candidates. Who would like to? Next question, please. I did see some. Yes.
On the Hive manifesto, you talk about the visibility of the star system. Now, this year, obviously, the purchase kind of can be demonstrated by the people in the room, the black and purple hoodies. What else do you mean by sort of making the stars more visible? What does that really entail?
Okay. Before you answer, I keep forgetting to repeat the question, so please remind me to repeat the question. I will repeat the question so people can hear it back on the live stream. What will you do to increase the visibility of stars?
Okay, so it's not for me just about the physical visibility. As you said, bringing in these hoodies was a brilliant idea, and I want to carry that on because it has made it a lot easier. Being a star myself, it's meant that my students can recognise me in lectures. But I also want to make it easier for a Facebook page to be set up or something to go through the Students' Union, so it makes it easier for all the students to be put on that, because obviously we do have their details. We also have the stars' details. It means then that the stars can talk to their students and the students vice versa. Perhaps if a particular group of students have a problem with an assignment or something like that, it makes it easier for everyone to be able to talk to them, and also then you can talk between your students as well, because I might know 5 people on my course and actually another 6th person might give me a good idea, and that way I can talk to them as well.
Okay. Zarina, do you want to come in next?
I think something that's really important is to make, in terms of making them visible, we don't have enough borders with them around, because I know the stars on my course. I think it's really important for them to be publicised, so people know straight where to go when they need help.
Okay, we'll go along the line. Chris, get you.
I think since starting this campaign, a lot of people have talked to me about their stars, and some people aren't particularly happy with them. My knowledge of this is that the stars that aren't fulfilling their job roles are the stars that aren't going to training. And I think that's the best way we can help with visibility as well, is by making sure the stars are going to training, so they're being told how they can make themselves visible. And that, for me, is the key thing. It's just taking ownership of our stars and helping them better represent the student population that we have.
Okay, while I do agree with that, it's okay to say that we're going to train them better, but at the end of the day, they are volunteers, so that we don't get to pick who we do get. So one of the issues is that we need to ensure is happening is that the lecturers are actually ensuring a proper election process is happening for the stars that are being picked, so that the students that are being represented have actually got someone who is reliable and someone who's going to be there and actually speak up and make their voices heard. And another way of continuing the good work that the SU has done for the star system is to continue with the purple branding. That makes them really recognisable, so we need to increase posters and things like that. They all need to have a consistent purple branding that's recognisable as the star system, and just keep building upon that, because now people are really starting to recognise it, and that's what we've needed all along, is that consistency in branding and marketing.
Okay. Lewis?
Yeah, I'll agree. I think the purple hoodie is quite quite visible. I think stars around campus are quite visible. Stars are approachable. I don't think it's necessarily a problem with stars themselves. The only point I wanted to add that I think was missed, that stars aren't always promoted across all institutes. Now, I'm from the Institute of Sport and Exercise Science. I know in a lot of business modules, the lecturer will stand at the beginning of the year and say, these are your stars. These are accessible. But for me personally, as a sports science student, I've never had that. I've never been in a lecture and a lecturer hasn't stood up and said, this is your star. If you've got a problem, you can go to your star. So for me, halfway through the year, I found out who my star was. I think that's too late to help with some issues.
Okay, fine. Does any...
Yeah, well, one of the issues with that is that we need to make sure that it's being reintroduced throughout the year and not just at the start. So, for example, if the freshers or even second and third years miss those reintroduction sessions at the start of the year, there should be more opportunities to actually go and find out about these things rather than, oh, you know, here's the star system, use it throughout the year and then don't, you know, only have a few posters. That doesn't work. We need to constantly be plugging it and making sure that people are aware that that's there for their, you know, to help them and to help them affect change as well. That's what the whole system is there to do.
Okay. Chris, second.
I completely understand that stars are volunteers, but I think stars also need to understand that not all of them, a lot of stars are absolutely fantastic, but some stars need to realise that they're taking on a responsibility when they do this. They have a responsibility to the students they're representing. And one of that is going to their training, because if they don't go to their training, they don't know what they're meant to be doing, they don't know how to make themselves visible, they don't know how to help their students. And I'm not blaming all stars, but there are a significant minority that aren't going to their training, and that hurts students, which is why we need to get them into their training. And it's just all about educating the stars before they are elected. As Jack said, getting the election process more visible, making sure it's run correctly.
Okay. I can see a number of purple hoodies in the room. Is there anything you want to follow up particularly with any of the candidates about what they've said so far? No?
Just agreeing with this idea that we need to be shown not just at the start of the year who we are throughout, and also like there are boards with pictures of us stars, but they're not in the main central part of the university. Yeah. They're hidden away somewhere where people only see if they need to hand in an assignment. So where would you propose these new boards could be placed?
So again, about increasing the visibility of stars and the boards with their photographs on, are they?
Yeah.
Where would you put them to try and increase the visibility, or if you think that's the right thing to do?
I think the best thing to remember is that obviously the university and Students' Union as well have got boards around, and we do have things already up on there. Whether it's a case that we talk to the institutes and where they have got boards around the university, we start putting, you know, the stars up there as well, alongside work, as well as in the Students' Union, if we can find obviously a place to put them. But at the end of the day, we have to give it equality for all the students in the university.
I think social media is a really good platform for that kind of thing. So I think Facebook, having a big Facebook group with like every single star on it from every single course would be a really good thing, because I know those are my course and they're fantastic, but I've never seen a star from any of the course, and I think it'd be nice.
Okay. Chris?
As I said, social media is a fantastic tool when working with students and working with stars. The boards, with some institutes, it's easier than others. I mean, a lot of courses find an area of a building and just make camp there for years and years on end. I believe Sport and Exercise Science has Thomas Telford, Drama has that whole corridor by the drama studio, but screenwriting, which I do, we're constantly being shifted around room to room. So if you're in drama, by all means, we'll get those boards out up in the drama corridor. If you're in Sport and Exercise Science, we'll get it where you guys are. But it's also about locking down rooms for specific courses which don't have a place where they can call home in university. And we need to see if we can investigate into fixing that problem.
Yeah, I agree with Chris that, you know, having a board in the institute is probably one of the best ways to get across to the students. So, for example, in the Digital Arts Centre, where I work most of the time, there's a board with all of the stars for each course in that building. So since that went up, a lot of people have been coming up and realising, oh, you're the student rep for Creative Digital Media, and coming to ask me things and talk about things. So that's one way that it is good to do that, and as Chris says, it's hard to find a base for each place, so it's a matter of talking to the institutions and finding whether it's a corridor or whether, you know, a small section of wall that is used a lot by those particular students, so we need to make sure that it's in a good visible place. But aside from this, we should also be using social media and perhaps a dedicated online platform which is something that I talked about in my manifesto about creating something specifically for the stars.
Okay, and Lewis.
I agree with the idea about social media. I think I want to disagree slightly though. The stars system is quite a personal system. It's someone that's approachable. So instead of a group with thousands of students and hundreds of stars, maybe we should have an institute group. So every staff from the Institute of Sport and Exercise Science is in a group with sport and exercise science students. Every business star is in a group with business students. Then it's relevant to your course. Anything that you put on, someone else could be struggling with. Your star can help a lot of people at one time. Instead of everyone seeing notifications, or whether it's on the SU page or on Facebook or Twitter, notifications from things that aren't relevant to you. Just sort of leading on to that, Chris had a good point about the buildings moving. I'm just talking from a sports point of view, but outside some of the sports halls and sports rooms, there's business stars posters. That's not relevant there. So, like you said about locking down the rooms, if there is a business school, have the pictures outside the business school for business stars or sports or whatever it may be.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to move on to the next question. I would say, as a member of the university, how much we do value the stars, and actually the efforts that your position puts into that is really important to us, because we know how we need to work with members of the course teams, and that's a really important role. So next question from anyone on the floor. I was going to try avoid going, but I'll come. No, absolutely.
You've spoken a bit about stars training, a couple of you, and getting more people to come along. Now, every year we have the same sort of very similar question to yesterday. We send out the emails, we put it on Facebook, we try and get institutes to advertise out to their stars. What are you going to do differently to get more people then?
Okay, so the question is, the training is advertised already in a number of ways. It isn't always necessarily as effective as it could be. What are you going to do to try and improve it? And I'm going to ask that question of Zarina first.
Oh God. Okay. So this is something I'm not 100% aware of. It wasn't put in my manifesto. It's not something I wanted to focus on. I think we've got a really, really good star system here, and they do a really, really good job. I do think. I know we do publicise it a lot. I think it's just asking people what they want to do, and I think it's just getting people's voice out there, because a lot of people are they're not confident enough to come forward to do something like that. So it's just basically, I'd say, get it out there more.
Okay, Lewis.
You said about you try and improve it every year. It's quite well noted that the SU already promotes the star system quite a lot. I don't think it's a case of advertising it for me. It might be quite a radical move, but I'd make the trainings mandatory. So you want to volunteer, you want to be a star, you want to help, that's great. So training's mandatory, you miss 3 sessions without a reasonable excuse, someone else is a star, that's it, you get your privilege taken away. If you want to help students, that's great, you volunteer, but you go to the trainings, otherwise it undermines the work that the current stars that do go to the trainings, that do want to help the students do. So it's quite a radical move, but it'll mean that every star that is a star is helpful. We've got 600 stars at the minute. They're not all helpful. So if we have 300, but they all go to every training and they know exactly what they're doing, I think it's a lot more beneficial.
Chris?
I completely agree. I think mandatory star training is a brilliant thing, but I think we also need to persuade the students to get there. A lot of what I've realised in this campaign trail is that, God, that's a pretentious phrase, campaign trail, but you know what I mean, on this campaign, is that face-to-face communication is the best way to do it. So you get in there and you talk to every single institute and you talk to their students saying, this is why it's important to be a star. And for me, that's an important thing that I'd be doing as VP Education. Because I've been a star for 3 years now. In my first year, I'll admit, I didn't go to any form of training at all. And if I'm honest, I was a rubbish star. But then I found Tom and I was talking to Tom about the star system and he said, why haven't you come along to the training? And I was like, I don't know. So then I went to the training my second year and I learned so much. The training that the Student Union does for stars is incredible and it really, really helps these stars. But you just need to tell them why it's important and how it's important, how it's going to help them become a better representative for their students. And that is only going to be done face to face.
Okay, well, that's Jack now.
I kind of disagree with that last bit about doing it face to face. That's not the only way to do it. You know, we can use the creative students and use their skills to get these messages across to the students at large and say, you know, this is why the star system's here, this is why it's important, and actually use creative ideas in order to engage them with the system. So instead of just saying, you know, you should help students, you help your friends out, help your colleagues, it's going to be actually making it an exciting and valuable experience and make it obvious you know, if you don't know anything about STAR system, you could watch the video and just say, okay, that's what it's there for. And to do with the training, I agree that the mandatory training thing is a really good idea, but that would limit the number of people that are actually going to be registered as proper stars, because most people, and like Chris, I didn't go to the training in the first year because I was busy with, you know, first year stuff. So freshers, and you know, you're busy settling into university. A lot of people don't get involved with that stuff, even if you, for me, someone said, well, the lecturer said, who wants to be a star? And nobody did, so I said, okay, I'll do it, because otherwise I'm not going to have one. But then at that point, I wasn't pushed forward then to go to the training, apart from through emails. So there needs to be more of a focus, maybe with the lecturers as well, saying that if you're going to be taking that responsibility on, you need to make sure that you're actually going to take it seriously and go to the training and make sure that you're getting all this training that the SU is providing, which, like Chris says, it's great.
Sally?
Okay, it's primarily for me, it's talking to the institutes and talking to the lecturers. So the lecturers can then obviously pick the stars, because at the end of the day, at the beginning of first year, second year and third year, that is what happens. And then it's the lecturers being able to let me know who they are, setting up something like DoodlePad and being able to say, right, when are you guys free? So I know exactly when to do these training sessions. Again, I agree with Lewis and the rest of the other candidates that making it mandatory would be a good idea, but also it does mean that some students wouldn't want to do it if they know for a fact they're going to get kicked off, if they haven't got time, you know, all the time to do it. I agree that you do need to make sure that you do have the time there, but also you need to make sure that you are, you know, especially in second and third year, it's a busy year in comparison to your first year. But by talking to lecturers and getting this DoodlePad situation sorted out, it means then I could be able to arrange this training to be done in a time where the majority of the students can come.
Okay. Fine. Is there any more questions from the... I had a question for you. Now, are you registered to vote? And why should you register to vote in the general election? And I will start with, at the other end of the table, with Lewis.
Yes, I am registered to vote, first of all. I think voting the general election, exactly the same as the student election, it's about representation. So for me, I'm going for an education perspective. For me, it's about representing and including as many students as I can. So the students need to have a voice on that. So if you're registered to vote, you need to have your say. It's on the voice, it's about having your say, and it's the same for the general election. You need to have your say. It's your opinion. You can give it anonymously. No one knows what your opinion is, and it means that you have a genuine say on what's going to happen, issues that relate to you.
We'll just walk along the line.
Okay, yeah, I'm registered to vote, and I think it's a really important thing for young people to get involved with. I know that it's not really that well promoted towards young people when you become of age to actually vote. Not much is done really to explain why you should vote and what you should actually consider before you put your vote in. As Lewis just said, it's about having your say and making your voice heard. If you don't vote, then you can't really complain about who's then going to get elected. It's the same for every election. If you have the ability to vote, then you should do, because you can't really complain if you haven't made yourself heard.
Chris?
I think students are often told by politicians, by the media, that they're not interested in politics, that they don't care about who the Prime Minister is. But coming to university, I've realised that young people are the most politically aware group I've ever talked to, but they don't know they are. They care about transport, they care about sports, they care about funding for universities. They just don't consider it politics. And that's fine. If they don't want to consider what their beliefs are politics, that's fine. But they do need to understand that voting matters and voting affects how their lives are. And yes, I am registered to vote, as you can probably tell by this rhetoric I'm spouting now. But for me, it's as the other candidates have said. If you don't vote, you don't have the right to complain when something happens that you don't like.
Yeah, I'm registered to vote. It is really important. It's all about representation. Again, like everyone else says, you don't have a right to moan if you haven't voted. But again, it's almost like an investment in someone's future. And so, yeah, it's important to vote.
Okay, I am registered to vote like the rest of the candidates. And again, I'm going to say similar to the same as the other candidates. If you're not registered to vote and you don't actually go and vote, then how can you sit and complain about it? How can you turn around and say, well, actually, I didn't want them to be president or prime minister or anything like that? And at the end of the day, everyone has an opinion on something. Everyone forms an idea, whether it's transport, whether it's, you know, student union elections, whether it's education, you know, student activities. Everyone's got an idea about something, and therefore if you've voted, it means that you've become part of the community, and it means then you can have your say.
Okay, thank you very much. Right, I'm now going to ask each of the candidates to summarise very briefly about why you should be why you should be elected as Vice President Education. I will start from that end of the table again and come along here. So.
Okay, just a couple of points then, briefly, a couple of my main things. I want to liaise with the university next year to improve the feedback on modules, just so that students are well aware of how they're getting on at university, how they're doing, what degree they could be on for. Leading on from that, I think the information on degree classification is very vague around the university. A lot of students that go from first to second and second to third year aren't aware what grades they need, whether they need 3 Bs or 4 Bs for a 2-1, or what grades, how many they can actually take through. Things like that, the information is available, but it's very vague and it's very confusing. There's a lot of miscommunication from lecturers and students. So I want to make that very clear. For me, it's about inclusion and representation. I want to include as many people as I can with the Students' Union, and I want to represent as many students as I can. So vote for me for LA for VP. Thank you.
Okay, if you elect me, I'll focus on making sure the SU grows alongside the ever-increasing number of applicants. So what we spoke about earlier is that the SU is still quite small when you compare it to how big the university is getting and how big they plan to grow over the next 5 years. I'll focus on delivering SU services effectively and creatively to ensure as many students as possible are engaging with the SU and participating, so that we can strengthen our position within the university. To do this, I'll apply the skills I've learnt throughout my studies and throughout my professional work, which includes marketing and communicating ideas, information, through animation, video production, graphic design. So it's all about communicating those ideas effectively and making sure that everybody knows what's going on and making sure things are running smoothly. I think this ability to communicate ideas along with my ability to manage the several productions and projects at once, I think that would make me the perfect person to voice your opinions and affect the change that you want at the university. You can find me on Facebook at Jack Carver for VPE. Please vote for me.
Everything for me comes down to policies and what I want to do when I come in. If I come in, I don't want to be too presumptuous. But for me, the university is not being held to account on some of the things it's doing. There is module transparency when you sign up for a module. You can get 2-3 weeks into a module thinking it's one thing. After that 2-sentence description you got on the module selection page, and it's completely different to that. So what I want to do is get a link to the previous year's module guide saying, and now that's not going to be perfect because obviously modules change year on year, but it will give you an idea of the tone of the module, and so what you'll be expecting will be pretty similar to what you're getting at the end of the day. Extra costs in modules. Drama students have trips, art students have portfolios to buy, and these need to be available on the module selection page when you do that, so you know what you're going to have to buy when you're in the module, and you're not going to be surprised 6 weeks in. Key texts. More than one person should be able to read a key text at once. For me, it's as simple as that, and the university needs to be doing more to support this. But also it comes down to listening. I don't want to just force through the ideas that I have. I want to do what you guys want me to do if I get in. I want to be working hard for you guys. And that's all.
I think the key themes here are people focusing on the bigger picture. When I'm doing completely the opposite, I want to focus on things like student support, make sure there's help on hand for everyone who needs it in terms of academic work. I also want to help with things like volunteering and work placement. It took me 9 months to find a placement for a module, and I found it on my own and it was too late. So I think that's something we really need to encourage. Giving recognition to students who don't get it. So for example, I find that at University of Worcester, those who achieve high tend to get lots of credit for it, but people that work really hard and improve may not get A grades, they don't get any recognition, so I think that's really important to encourage as well. And I want to make sure that it's for everyone, not just for one institution. I want to focus on absolutely everyone getting support that they really need. Yeah, so vote me.
Okay. And Sammy.
Okay, so one of my main ideas is a careers fair, or working to help students find out if they know what they want to do, how do they take the steps to do that, and if they don't know what they want to do, helping you talk to loads of different varieties of different careers across institutes, so you can find out exactly, you know, where you need to go, where you need to start looking to that, whether you're either in your first, second or third year. Again, improving options for STARS as well, being able to, and the volunteers, being able to make sure the training's there for you at the right time, and the volunteers get a good say in what they want to do as well. But most of all, I want to make sure that your voice is heard. At the end of the day, that's why you're voting. You're making sure, whether you're voting for me or any of these other guys sitting to my right hand side, you make sure your voice is heard, and I want to make sure that you are feeling more a part of your Worcester community.
Okay, thank you very much. Should we give them a round of applause to say thank you for their participation? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh my God, I'm just not what you're saying. Like, it's horrible.
Okay, I'd like to invite the candidates for President to join me. Thank you very much. So if you're just joining us, we're in the middle of the debate for the Student Union leadership elections, which is being broadcast live on the university campus in both the Pear Tree and in the refectory. And we're going to give an opportunity now for questions for the role of President. Feel free to repeat any questions you may have asked to other previous candidates for other roles. And I will, again, if necessary, I'll throw in the odd question just to help us along. So first of all, what I would like you to do is just introduce yourself and the course that you're currently studying at the university.
I'm Zarina Azam. I do sociology, and I'm running for president as well.
My name is Marius Adam. I'm a third-year psychology student. I'm running for presidency this year.
I'm Wesley Hudson. I'm the current president of the Students' Union.
Okay, thank you very much. And who would like to ask the first question? Tom.
Obviously, other than talking about your position, I quite like to hear that you guys are now going to be potentially head of the Student Union. I'd like to hear a little bit more about how you have been involved with SU, but when, please don't mention obviously your previous year, something maybe.
So it's quite a specific question for Wes.
Well, no, it's for everyone.
Okay.
Kind of what they've done with the SU.
Okay. Fine.
Fine.
Okay. So the question really is about what have you done so far in terms of your involvement in terms of supporting the Students' Union, but for Wes, prior to becoming president.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Zarina, we'll start with you first.
Well, I actually haven't, and that's why I ran, because I've never really been involved before, and I've never felt like given an opportunity to do so, which is why I ran. I wanted to kind of change SU, and I feel like I'm representing those who aren't part of any society or any club. I'm literally just a student. I don't do anything else, like any sports or socials. So yeah, I think this is my time to show that, really.
My time. Okay, to be honest, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. In my first year, I was not involved with the SU absolutely at all. In my second year, I got involved. I've been in dance society only because of a bet. That was it. I got involved in a dance society because of a bet, and it was one of the it was the best experience of my life. We went to so many cities, we danced against other universities, we won prizes, we made friends, long-time friends, and so on and so forth. Currently in my third year, I wanted to go dancing again, but I did not have the time. I honestly did not have the time balancing 3 part-time jobs and my studies, my dissertation, so on and so forth. So I could not do it. And the reason I did not do it in my first year is because I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware of what it offers. And it's a shame because I think a lot of first-year students aren't aware, and that's why I'm running, because I want to improve the student experience as a whole.
So from when I was a first year, I actually was heavily involved with the Students' Union from day one. I was a part of the rowing team in my first year. In second year, I became a freshers volunteer crew, so I was heavily involved in that. And from that, and that led on to me volunteering in my second year. And then I ran in by-elections at the end of the second year to become representation officer, which is now not an officer, but that was sorted out at student council. So I sat on the student council as well for my third year, and from that I wanted to get heavily more involved, which is why I ran for the position of president last year and won. Obviously.
Questions from the floor? Yes.
Question again about RAG,
okay.
For next year.
Your question is?
What are your plans next year for RAG?
Okay. What are your plans for next year to support RAG? And if we start with Marius.
Marius, okay. First of all, heavy advertising, but efficient advertising. I'm talking about efficient advertising in marketing because everybody can write a poster, everybody can print, everybody, almost the best people who knows how to manipulate photos in Photoshop, they can do it. But if that does not attract people, it's useless, you know? Professional advertising, and second of all, involvement within it. Involvement within it by not only posters and etc., but promotional videos. I think videos is a key factor because when you see all the colors sparkling and changes of images, then you get more involved in it. And then people approaching other people and approaching groups of people, you know? From one, it doesn't matter how many people you approach as long as people are aware, because you can talk to one student. I know it's impossible to talk to almost 10,000 students. I'm perfectly conscious of that. But if you talk to 10 students, those 10 students are going to talk to 5 more students, and those 5 students are going to talk to 1 more. It goes on. That's what outreach is all about. So that's how I'm going to plan to do it. Efficient advertising, more involvement through advertising, and through efficient marketing.
Okay, Wes?
Yeah, I've taken quite a different approach. I've been looking at how other universities actually work with their RAG, and I'd like to adopt kind of a scheme that other universities do, which is a charity lending scheme. So the Students' Union and the university put a sum of money together, and then students can apply for the money. So, for example, to put on their own event. So I could come and say, I'd like to put on this event, I need £250. So it's a bit Dragon's Den style for those of you that watch it. So then they get the money to try and raise as much money they can for RAG, and then obviously they'd try and earn it back, and then all the profits would go to charity as well.
Again, it was literally all I'd probably do is advertise more, get more students involved. And I think it's a case of like networking within students. So like obviously they'll get their friends on board, and it would, just basically networking really.
Okay. Any more questions? Tom? Yes, thanks.
Do you think we should still be part of NUS while
Okay. I'm going to start with Wes. I'm being fair.
Yeah, it's all right. This was actually quite a hot topic this year at our AGM. Personally, I'm very pro NUS. NUS gives us, despite having quite a costly fee, we do manage to earn that back through kind of lower prices in the bar and shop, so it allows the students to kind of like buy things for cheaper, obviously. And as well, it gives us access to a lot of conferences that allow us to hone in on our skills and develop as officers. And obviously there's opportunities for students to go on conferences as well. So they give us a lot of support as well on how to run students' unions to kind of give the best student experience that we can.
Yeah, I do think I am agreeing with this. I do think we should be part of the NUS. Although we should be aware of their terms, because I know it's a costly fee in order to be a member of the NUS that we have to pay annually as a student union, and they do offer tons of benefits as well. I'm not even talking about the tiny NUS cards, but other benefits as well, from conferences to trainings to ideas, which is the most important thing, an idea, because everything starts from an idea. But if their terms of the contract are kind of overpowering us, then I think we should think about it. I'm not saying remove it, the idea of joining the NUS or being part of the NUS, but think about it. If it's not advantage to us, we should always think before making any decisions. So we need to think if those terms put us in an advantage or not. And if they do, we should be part.
I think we should be part of it. It's basically the heart of university. It's all for the students and the students' voice. And it's essentially just the voice of students. And so I think we should stick.
I'm going to ask a follow-up question, if I may, because actually your role gives you the opportunity to attend NUS conference as part of by being president of the Students' Union. What do you think the Students' Union should be doing at NUS conference, and what are there any issues or concerns that you have about undertaking that role at conference? So if I start with Maris first.
Okay. First of all, that's a great question. I usually get inspired from other people in order to inspire other people on my behalf. So taking in as much information as possible to the dot, to the point, and afterwards adapting it to our university, bringing information to them, and making them aware of the University of Worcester, because let's face it, the University of Worcester is not as big as Liverpool or Leeds or Southampton and so on and so forth, but it is there, and it is overgrowing year after year. So we need to make them aware of what we are doing as a union and as a student group and a student body, and we need to take everything that they have, absolutely everything, note down on a piece of paper and then see if something can be adapted in order to use it as efficient as possible in order to enhance the student experience.
Zarina?
Skipping.
I think the conference that you're talking about in particular allows myself and 2 other delegates to go and vote on NUS policies and their leadership, as well as the president of NUS and all their vice presidents as well. That allows us to get involved with the national movement of students, so it allows us to voice our own opinions as well. So that's why I think it's important that we go.
Okay, let's give you a chance for more questions to come from the floor. Okay, question from anyone else? From Tom?
All the candidates have spoken about better promotion or advertising. What do the candidates propose to do to promote the issues better? More than the use of social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or student emails, promo via the website, posters, banners, videos, word of mouth, student staff and volunteers, all of which the SU already actually does.
Okay, so how are you going to promote the Students' Union better using
What we do already.
other than what you already do?
Social media.
Okay, so Zarina, you go first.
In terms of what I wrote in my manifesto, I wanted to focus a lot on variety and celebrating diversity. I've been at uni for 3 years and I haven't seen a lot of that at all. And so it's basically, obviously social media is a really, really good platform. But again, I want to put on events such as like LGBT. There's not enough of that going on. We've got like religious celebrations that I've never ever seen celebrated. And that's something I want to do. And that's what I just did, yeah.
Okay. Although you said absolutely almost all the ways you can actually advertise something, absolutely anything, we should think about the efficiency of the advertising within itself. First of all, I'm saying about volunteers, word to mouth. I know you're saying that the word to mouth might not be as effective as you think, but if we train the volunteers as efficiently as possible, and I'm not saying only just train them, but get volunteers who are good at talking to people. Yeah, good people skills and communication skills, that's what we need in order to attract more people. And in order to attract them, as my previous colleague said earlier on, a lot of students are taking underneath placements, a lot of students are commuting, and it's really hard for them to get involved. That's why they don't even care. That's why they don't even take the time to look at a poster or actually talk to somebody or listen to somebody, so they just ignore it. But we need to focus on those groups as well by writing down absolutely all the issues, fighting each and every one of them, by finding a solution in order to give them more time to get involved within the SU without as much commitment as possible. You know, they can commit as much or as less as they want, but we need to make them aware of that.
If I'm honest, Tom, I think everything that you listed there, perhaps we could use that to our advantage because it's something that we've got. So whether we need to improve that already, I think it might be important to target students before they come. After this came up yesterday, as soon as students, we know that students will be attending. I know this year we've already sent them welcome cards and things like that. So whether we send them more information on that we get, I know we send them newsletters as well. So whether we put more detail into those as well. But I think if we engage them from day one or even before day one, then they know what to expect when they get here.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Another idea just came into my mind now. I am not an advertising student. I'm not a business student. I might have done business in my life, but I do not know anything about advertising professionally. I'm saying that we should enhance our connection and our communication skills with the university and within the business schools, because we have great minds in the business school, great minds that we're not even aware about. And we should give them opportunities like, look, we gave everything we got. We don't know anymore. After we do that, of course, can you help us come up with ideas, advertising students, creative digital media students, and so on and so forth. We can even like get a prize, the best winning advertising idea, gonna get a prize, you know, just to enhance involvement as well.
Was that your hand?
Yeah,
yes?
that's linking back to my point. I'd written in one of my speeches our manifesto about like businessy schemes, so getting students' talents and using them in order to help them. So again, it links to what Marissa just said. Yeah, just getting them involved in advertising if they're good at it.
Okay. Now looking to the floor for any questions. Whilst you're thinking of your next question, perhaps candidates might want to think about how they would work to maybe improve the reputation of students in the local community and what you might do. I'll start with Wes.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing that we can focus on. I think we need to make it aware to the public and the members of Worcester that students do contribute. I've met with local MPs who have told me about how important students are to the local economy. We buy things from their shops, we work for them and things like that. And it's important to know that all the good things, so it's about promoting the good things and the good news stories that the students do. I mean, the wonderful work that our volunteers do, how great our sports teams are, just letting the local community know that how good and the great things that we do as well. And remind them that the students could be their future. They could be the nurses. They could be the nurses that look after their sick parents or children, things like that.
Okay, Serena.
I am really, really into charity work, and I feel that we need to encourage you to take part in that more. It opens our eyes to what's going on in society, but it also shows off a really, really positive view on students as well. So I think charity work is really, really important.
That is a really good point. Charity work is a good point, but to be honest, our university is bigger than the SU's capacity. The SU is too small for this university because the university is constantly growing over and over and over again, and they're buying buildings in the city and they're growing as well. We cannot have that. Our SU cannot physically grow more than this. It would be really unlikely to happen. Charity work is efficient 100% because it makes the outside population from the university aware of, like, oh, the students from this university are actually doing things outside in the community. But I'm focusing more on growth. My first point is focusing more on the growth of the SU in order to enhance our charitable events as well. So instead of 10 students doing charitable events, 20 or 30 or 40 students. So when we're going to do a massive charity event, it's going to have a massive impact on communities. Like, oh wow, what is this? Bear in mind, the students will always be students. Students go out, students use alcohol, they get drunk, and they do stuff. And you're going to get a lot of complaints from the community as well. So we need to focus on maintaining a good balance in between the negative impact the students create on themselves, because it is almost impossible to control that. We need to make a good balance between the negative effects and the positive effects.
Okay. Wes, you want to come back
I just want to make it clear that that's only a very small proportion of students that do go out and drink. We have 62% of our students are mature, and I'm sure that a lot of people would disagree. Yeah, I mean, we don't actually have that many complaints. The complaints have gone down a lot quicker. Obviously, we've worked really closely with the PCSOs this year and the university and the local community to try and come to some kind of arrangement and to try and decrease the complaints that we get. So obviously, if elected, I would carry on with that hard work as well.
Maris, you want to come back again?
Yes, if that is okay. That is absolutely true. Maybe the complaints have gone down, but I'm not talking about the amount. I'm not talking about the amount of students who are doing that. So I'm talking about the effect, and I'm talking about how big is the negative effect and the negative aspect, because the community is larger than the student population. The population of Worcester is almost or over 100,000, and 10,000 are students. Almost 10,000 are students. That means 1 in every 10 people who live in Worcester is a student, or commuting, or so on and so forth. So obviously, the community knows, I hope they know, that the university is a massive, massive point for this city, and this city is constantly growing because of the university, and because the university is so popular and it's overgrowing. But I'm talking about the effect that students have on it. I'm not talking about how many negative effects have, but how big the effects actually are in the term of creating a negative image on the SU. So that's what we're trying to balance it.
I think one of the main focuses on is focusing on the negative portrayal of certain groups. So I think there's some societies that are great. However, there is times where there is some kind of culture and there is a link with negativity towards them. So I think it's a case of focusing on specific groups and basically getting them more involved with things like charity work. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Well, that's given you some time to think about any questions that you might want to ask. Excellent. Yes.
We struggled at the AGM to get sufficient people to make it quorum at some point last AGM. Have you any ideas how you might engage with the student population and to increase the attendance at the AGM?
Okay, so the question here is about how you may increase student participation in the AGM in order that it can be quorate. Let's start with Marius first.
I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I have absolutely no idea how to, because I've never been aware of this problem, and I can guarantee and I can promise you that I haven't been aware of a lot of problems within the SU and a lot of problems within the university as well. So I do not know how to, but I would give 110% of my energy and my power to do every bit of research possible out there in order to solve that problem.
Okay, and I'll go to Wes next.
Free pizza. No, but seriously, I think...
No, that's it now.
Oh, is that my answer? Okay.
No, carry on.
I don't know whether it's, if this is possible, but I know it's discussions that have been taking place, whether it's looking at the Constitution to see if we can reduce the numbers that are allowed to, whether we can just include it as a student council, because obviously those are the members that are engaged fully, but then obviously open it out and invite students to come and watch and participate and give their opinions as well. So then that might get a fairer kind of representation of the student body.
Serena.
I would have just said something like incentives, like that's really all basically what I would have said.
So incentives. Okay, I think there's a question from one of the other candidates behind you. Yes. Chris.
It's not necessarily a question. It's just I was hoping to speak on the AGM, if that was okay.
Is it a speech or a question? You can ask a question. I'm happy if you answer a question, Chris, but not a speech.
No, it's not a speech.
Okay,
It's just
good.
answering the question on the AGM.
Right.
I think the problem with the AGM is not the advertising, it's not the Constitution, because the Constitution's already changed the quorum number in the last 2 years. The problem is sending literature out to students so they understand what the AGM is, how important it is, and what things they're voting on and how it affects them. Because everyone sat in that AGM, hardly any of them knew what the effects of us voting on rejoining the NUS, about staying with Bucks, about passing the financial minutes. No one understood, well, very few people in that room understood what was going on there. So it's educating them to the people so they understand how important the AGMs are.
And the question there was?
The question there is, how would we be educating the students about the importance of the AGM?
Fine. Zarina, I'll start with you first.
Oh, can you repeat that again?
Please just answer the question and then answer the same question.
The question is, how would you increase... your observation was around the material that is circulated, that people aren't aware of that material, and the importance of what's on the agenda and the decisions that are being made. How would you increase the knowledge about the importance of the topics of conversation at the AGM?
To be honest with you, I'm not going to lie, this isn't something I've really thought about. Like, I've got tons of ideas, but they don't link to this. So honestly, I don't have an answer for that.
Okay. Marius?
Yeah, it's true. It's exactly the same as I have no idea, and I'm honest with you, I have no idea how to, because I've never been put in contact with this issue, and that is so good. It's one of the best things that we are challenging right now, and you are challenging me right now, and probably all of us, hopefully, to think. And that's what we need. We need challenges. I do not know how to answer to your question, Chris, behind me. I do not know how to answer to your question, neither do I know how to answer to yours, but I will give everything I can in order to do every bit of research, because research, and critical thinking, not accepting everything you see or read, that is the secret of success.
And
well, I think you answered your own question before you even asked it. But obviously just educate people before, tell them what they will be voting on. That's simple, really, isn't it?
Any more questions from the floor? Yes.
Once we've elected you, or once we've elected the president, essentially it just seems like that's the end of it. But I want to know how you want to make yourself more accountable to me as a student. So if you've done something wrong, I want you to know about it, and I want results.
Okay, so the question is, how are you going to increase accountability to students? And I'm going to start with Wes this time.
Well, that's mainly what the Student Council is there for, and the Student Council is there for councillors to hold the sabbatical officers and the part-time officers to account for things that they haven't done, that they've said they've done, or things that they've done wrong. And now, obviously that is open to anyone to come along to as well.
Ignoring the Student Council right now, I know is not a good thing to do, but if you actually have, if I'm promising you something, or I'm aiming to do something, and I'm saying I'm going to give myself 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, and I haven't actually even started doing what I'm waiting, and I'm actually welcoming anyone to come in the office, not even knock at the door, just walk in, and just tell me, it's like, you promised us something, you aim to do something, and you're not doing it. Why aren't you doing it? It's like, oh my God, yes, I will do it. I have to sleep 2 hours a night, 2 hours less of a night every night in order to make up the time that I've lost, you know, but I have to do whatever I have to do. And I am welcoming absolutely everyone to come with ideas, good or bad, doesn't matter, and I'm welcoming absolutely everybody to criticize as much as possible, because you can only learn through criticism.
There is people that you can go and talk to if you're not happy what's going on. We've got Ruth and Paul over there. I think they'd be happy to help. I would say, I think the things I'm pledging, they're not unrealistic. They're basically just about improving safety, welfare, student life, student experience, just putting on more events really, and getting like a thriving vibe going on at the university, making people like more of a community feel. So yeah, I mean, if anyone's got any issues, just come and have a chat to me, but I don't think I'm pledging anything that can't be done.
I'll come over here and then, is there a particular follow-up question to that?
Just an extension.
Yeah, of course, yeah, let's do that.
Wes, you mentioned student council, and of course that's a good opportunity in order to hold the staff roles accountable. But I, for one, as a fresher, first year, didn't know about student council until I joined Society Voice, the newspaper. So is it more of an issue with visibility and accountability, or is accountability itself?
So the question there really about, is there an issue with the visibility of council in order to, because, and therefore the ability to keep you in account? And I'll start with Marius first.
Okay.
This time.
That's why I said earlier on that I'm trying to ignore the council, because before running in these elections, I wasn't aware of a lot of things. That's why I stayed up nights to do research. And I wasn't aware of the student council either. I wasn't aware of the student council until a couple of months ago. That's why I said ignore that and come straight to me. So that is a problem that I think we need to fix. And again, through official advertising, through face-to-face. But I don't think that people actually grasp the concept when I say efficient advertising, because it's easy to make a poster and it's easy to believe in something, but it's a lot harder to do that thing. And if it doesn't work, what people do, they advertise it once. And if it works, that's great because it worked. But if it doesn't work, they advertise it the same way. If it doesn't work once, we need to meet up a week afterwards, like, is it working? No, it's not, let's change it. 3 weeks afterwards, is it working? No, it's not, let's change it. Until you hit the point. That's what you have to do.
Okay. Serena?
Again, I think it's a case of more choice. So you shouldn't have to just go to one place where you can just go say, look, this is going on. And I find myself as a student, if I've ever had an issue, I literally feel like I've been thrown around here, then ever waiting to go and talk to someone. And so I do think it is important that we kind of bring another system in, or more choice in. Students say, well, if I can't go there, and go here. And yeah, there's lots of places to go to, really. I think that's really important.
And Wes?
Well, at the start of the year, we did advertise it heavily. We've got a board outside on how people can join student council. We had posters, we sent out all student emails, we did face-to-face talking and things like that. So I don't know whether you just missed it or you missed the email and things like that. But yeah, so whether it's promoting it more, and again, just making sure that students know the different opportunities that there are.
Did you want Marius to come back? Okay.
Yeah, I think behind me, Jack said that in your first year, or somebody said that when it came to stars, I'm trying to make a connection here. When it came to stars, they were only introduced once. If you only promote something once, you're only promoting it once. And as somebody said behind me, he was busy in his first year, he was busy with first year stuff. And a lot of people are busy here with first year stuff, because everybody who comes in university in first year, they're alone, they have no friends, they're afraid, they're terrified, and they're scared. That's the problem. And until they get over all these feelings, because the majority of students do get over them, if not all of them, hopefully, after they get, then they're going to start getting involved heavily within the university, within the SU, and within everything else. But we need to constantly make them aware that we are there and everything is available for them. Not just once, not just twice, not just 3 times, until everybody gets it, or if not, until a certain amount of people, or a certain percentage that we set out will get it.
Fine. Yes, I'll come back.
How much does a first year UK undergrad full-time student pay in tuition fees this year?
Okay, the question there was, how much does a full-time undergraduate UK student pay in tuition fees this year? And I'm going to ask Wes first.
I don't know the exact amount, but I know at this university it's about 8,900, around that. I can find out if you want me to. Obviously not right now, but I think it's important that we do know. And obviously, leaning on from what you have said, Kevin, earlier to the other candidates about getting involved in the general election, because obviously as students you can have your say on that, and that will help either bring it down and hopefully not go up if people keep their promises this time. So yeah, I think that's important as well.
Okay, Marius?
Presently, like, for example, how much I'm paying myself now, or like first year students? Okay. Okay, who's going to start in September this year or at the moment?
This year, like September's
Yeah, the thing is, this year is 2004. This year is 2015, and it started in 2014. That's why. Okay, yeah, around $9,000. At this university, they pay around $9,000, more or less. No more than $9,000, but yeah, around $9,000.
Okay.
I swear I read somewhere it was like 8,100 maybe. But to be fair, I literally assumed everyone was like around like $9,000. So.
Yeah. That's like that the loaf of bread question, is it? Excellent. Right, do we have any more questions from the floor? Okay, so Shannon, what I'm now going to do is I'm going to invite each of the candidates to summarise briefly about why they believe you should vote for them in the forthcoming election. I'm going to start with Zarina first.
Okay, so if you vote me president, I basically want to make every single student's experience as safe and comfortable as possible by doing all my power to ensure the university code of conduct is being followed. And as president, I want to be a base of support, somewhere that people know they can come and talk to me, and I'm more than happy to help them. I want to make university more exciting. I feel like there's not a massive vibe going on. I want it to feel like a community, everyone like involved together. And I want the university to be somewhere where people are proud to be a student. And I really, really want to encourage celebrating diversity. So yeah, please vote for me.
I'm now going to ask Wes to go next.
I've done a lot of stuff this year. I've basically finished my manifesto as it is, and I have so much more to give. So please do elect me Wes for Prez, round 2.
Okay. Right. First of all, I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's listening to us right now and looking at us. My first point that I want to say is that saying something, believing in something is really easy. Everybody can do that. Doing something is really hard. The first thing that I want to do is enhance the relationship between the SU and the university in order for the SU to grow. Second of which, I'm trying to get more engagement for everybody, no matter what race, no matter what nationality or religion you might have. It does not matter. You were going to be strongly encouraged to join the SU and get a little bit, at least a bit involved in the SU, so you can get a better experience of what being a university is all about. Third of which, because I've already been second. Third of which, I want for people to understand that I'm not saying to vote for me, nor am I saying not to vote for any of my opponents around on this table. I'm saying to use your judgment and think and criticize and analyze absolutely everything you need to before you make a judgment, because some people do things that have already been done before, and I am not like that. I would rather fail in originality than succeed in imitation, and I will promise you that I will give you 110% of my time to succeed in whatever I endeavor.
Is that before or after you take people's posters down?
Thank you very much.
I never took a poster down in my life. I've never touched that. I've been really carefully. To be honest with you, I only understood. No, this is a debate. To be 100% honest with you, I've been reading books on politics since I was 16. Machiavelli said, politics and morality have nothing to do with each other. And I've never understood that phrase better before a couple of days ago. I have played by the rules. I tried to find loopholes in the system in order to get an advantage, and I found a couple of them. And technically, everything that I've done so far is absolutely fair and square, and I haven't touched any of your posters or any of my opponent's posters or any other candidate's posters, because I know it was going to happen, and I know it's going to come to this.
So can I remind all candidates, if you have issues that you wish to raise about the elections, you should report those through the appropriate processes to the returning officer in the appropriate way to ensure that the rules are all being followed. Can I just take this opportunity for you to say thank you to the candidates for taking part in this. I would like to thank you all for participating in this debate by asking your questions, by giving it in a really important election for the Student Union election. And I'd like to thank all of those who are watching live in the pear tree or in the refectory. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you found today. And remember, use your vote and vote in the future elections, be they both in the Students' Union and in the general election or future elections. Thank you very much.
Thank you.